going wonderful.
I'm running in the 9th Congressional District.
Really?
Yeah, there we are. You can have some of those too.
I'll
just in reaction to the bailout package, I decided I had to file.
Oh yeah, that in Wall Street.
Never know. Because they're all saying,
Thank you. How you doing today?
Great. We're the people. This is what we can do. The Chronicle should be reporting.
Were the police called on any of these cases?
I'm not sure. That was a couple of months ago for that one. And there's always little, you know, nitpicking things going on, and who knows?
Sounds like there was a lot all at once. It's kind of strange.
Well, she went to Bush's ranch and stayed there, and I'm sure she made her fair share of enemies and got. I just assume that my phone is tapped. I've been involved with this for a while. I assume that every conversation I have is being listened to and
or recorded.
Or recorded.
Do you have anything to say about this bailout?
The bailout?
Yes.
It's one of the biggest financial crimes in history.
The bailout is a total abomination. It's a ripoff.
Anything to say about Democracy Now?
Oh, Democracy Now! Is the greatest, and I think every citizen should be watching that at least 2 to 5 times a week.
I want Obama in and Pelosi out.
What do you have to say about McCain and Palin?
A loser picked the worst loser for his partner. $150,000 on clothes for her and her family. That's about 8 or 9 times what I make a year. I will vote anti-Pelosi forever. She sold my faith.
Okay, so thank you all for being out here to really push for media responsibility. Okay, we're not buying into the liberal media bias, because who's more liberal than me? Who's more liberal than you all? And they're not covering us at all. Of course, impeachment of George Bush and Dick Cheney off the table. George Bush and Dick Cheney have definitely, and Dennis Kucinich has leveled 35 articles of impeachment, and because they have committed high crimes and misdemeanors. But Nancy Pelosi, since she's part of that imperialist establishment, she took impeachment unconstitutionally and traitorously off the table. And she has also funded George Bush's wars since she's been Speaker of the House, $500 billion. And instead of telling him, you know what, George, there is a new team in town. And there will be a new direction. And the direction is bringing our troops out of Iraq and Afghanistan. She didn't do that. She gave him blank checks to wage this war. And it's a Chronicle covering, and not just a Chronicle, but other establishment media outlets, are they covering one of the most important races in the country today? No! Here in the 8th District, barely, minimally, when they have to. Like when we historically gained ballot access, only the 6th campaign in California history to get on the ballot, the 6th independent campaign, they had to cover it. They couldn't ignore it then. Well, it's up to us to make sure they don't ignore true progressive values. George Bush and Nancy Pelosi have collaborated for violence and to impoverish us. So unless we stand up and demand media accountability and accountability from our government, we're not going to get it. Right. So thank you so much for being here. It's going to be we the people that are going to make a difference.
Sandy.
Obama.